Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today I'm going to talk on artificial neural network, and the agenda of this talk is I'll provide first a brief introduction of artificial neural network. Then we'll move ahead with bias, why bias is needed in neural networks, what's an activation function. Then we'll look into perceptron, what's the ZOR problem, how multi-layer perceptron can solve this ZOR problem, and what's the backpropagation algorithm. Further, at last, we'll provide the conclusion. So in artificial neural network, the basic element is artificial neuron, and its concept is taken from biological neuron in our brains. So here in the neuron, dendrites acts as an input, and from the cell body, it's provide in the cell body some processing take place, and it provides the output via axon terminals. So similar concept is taken in artificial neuron, where we have multiple inputs, and we it pass through the weighted sum in the here, and further it pass through an activation function, and it provides the output. So this is the basic element, and with this perceptron is created. Here we have artificial neuron. Here we take the multiple inputs here, and it provides the output after passing through the activation function. So first we'll look into why bias is needed. Suppose we want to train a perceptron for a NAND logic gate. So for that training, suppose we have just two inputs as a 0 0, and here we will be having a synaptic weights. So suppose like we have provided a first synaptic weight as a 0 and second synaptic weight as a 10. So whatever the weight we will provide, the since the input is 0, so multiple will always be 0, and we will be not able to train the perceptron whatever the weights we apply here. So for that we see that a bias will be needed here for that. So here is the bias that I provided here, and for randomly I have taken a weight as 0.5. So further, earlier we have a output as just two inputs with synaptic weights as 0 and 10 was taken, and the output was 0. But in this case, if we are taking a bias, now this summation will change, and it will give me the output as 0.5. Further, the activation function will give me the output as 1, because here we have a function output will be 0 if the summation will be less than equal to 0, then the output will be 0, and if the summation comes out to be greater than 0, then the output will be 1. So here we get the output as 1, and accordingly, like we can move ahead with the training for NAND logic gate. So the second main requirement for bias input is, suppose just we have a single input, and we have a synaptic weight here, and we get the output. So in this case we will be having this example takes the activation function as a sigmoid function. So if we are having a sigmoid function, then whatever the weight we will apply, just it will change the steepness of the curve, but it will not be able to move this sigmoid function in any of the direction. So suppose we need uh, uh, 0 value at suppose at a distance with 5. So for that we will need to add a bias. So let's take an example here. So suppose we have added input here, and the bias is here available. So in that case, if we take the synaptic weight here as minus zero point 0.5, then the output will be this one. So this curve moved in the x direction, as we can see here. So this is the second important feature of the feature that can be accomplished via bias. Let's move ahead with the activation function. Now, why the activation function is needed, and what kind of activation function can be used. So for the perceptron training, we can use a threshold function, and its output will be 0 if the x is less than or equal to 0, and the output will be 1 if x is greater than 0. In the case of threshold function, we can't use this in a multi-layer perceptron. The reason behind this is like in the multi-layer perceptron we need to go ahead with the back propagation, and in the back propagation we'll need to find out the derivative of that particular function. So here we will see like in the derivative of the threshold function, like f dash x, that will be 0 for x is not equal to 0. So here in all the cases, like derivative of the function will be 0, but at x is equal to 0, there is a just huge jump here, and we are not we don't have a derivative at this point, that is at x is equal to 0, so we can't use this function for multi-layer perceptron. So in that place, we can use a sigmoid function, which has a function. This is the curve of that sigmoid function, and this is it's like expression 1 upon 1 plus e to the power minus x, and its derivative is this one. So this can be used in the multi-layer perceptron activation function. Other is hyperbolic tangent function. This can be also used in the multi-layer perceptron, and the difference between this and sigmoid function is that this varies in between 0 and 1. In the case of hyperbolic tangent function, it varies between -1 and +1, and its derivative is this one, 1 minus f square x. So here we are going to train a perceptron for an OR logic gate. So let's move ahead with that. We have a bias here, two inputs, and these weights as W01, 11, and 21. And to initialize, initially first we need to like randomly take some weights here. For that, uh, the standard weights initialization range is in between -1 upon root n to 1 upon root n, where n is the size of the previous layer. So here we can see that the size of the previous layer here in this case is 3, so n is equal to 3 here. So our range will be in between 1 upon root 3 to -1 upon root 3 to 1 upon root 3, that will be coming at around -0.577 to 0.577. So randomly I have taken the weights as -0.5, 0, and zero point 0.5. So here first, like, input will pass through the weight, and multiple will come out. So here I get the -0.5 for bias, and 0 with the multiplication with the weight, it will give me the output as 0, and the second input, it will again multiple with the weight, it will give me the output as 0. Further summation will take place, and it will pass through the activation function. So as per this, like fx will be equal to 0 if x is less than equal to 0. So here it is -0.5, so it will give me the output as 0. So here it is fine for now. Now let's move ahead with the second input, that is 0 1. So here again, +1 multiplied by -0.5, it will give me the output as -0.5 for the first input. The output will be 0. Second input, it will give me the output as 0.5. Further, the summation will take place. Here it will give me the output as 0. Passing through the threshold function, it will give me the output as 0. So this is not correct as per our requirement, so we will need to modify the weights. So how the weight will be modified is this, by this rule we can modify the weight of a perceptron. So here this is the new weight that we'll get, and this is the old weight that we have already used. This is the learning rate. Its range, what I found, is around 0.00012 to 1. So for the simplification of this calculation, I am taking eta as 1. This is the desired output, as in our case here it is 1, and the actual output that we received in our case, this is 0, and the input. So accordingly, now we need to modify our weights that was earlier as -0.5, 0, and 0.5. So W01, now if we are taking it as this is the old weight, that is -0.5, eta I have taken as 1. This is our required output, that is 1. This is the actual output that we received right now as 0, and multiplied by the input, that is 1 here. Similarly for W11, we will get the new weight is 0, that is similar to the old weights. And for W21, this one we will get, this was my old weight 0.5. Now after the calculation, it gave me the output as 1.5. So let's modify our weights accordingly. So now this is 0.5, 0, and 1.5. Further, let's move ahead with the perceptron training, and the first with the bias, it gives me the output as 0.5, 0 for the first input, second input again 0. So overall 0.5, and the output is 1. So this is fine for now, and now for the last input, that is 1 1, we'll move ahead, that is first after multiplication with the weight, it gave me the output as 0.54 bias. For first input 0, second input it gave me the output as 1.5. Further summation will take place here. Output is 2, passing through the activation function, it will give me the output as 1. And this is fine now. So let's check for 0 1, which gave me the wrong output with this modified weights. So first is bias 1 multiplied by weight 0.5, first input 0 and the second input is 1.5. So overall summation is 2, and after passing through the threshold function it will give me the output as 1. So now this is fine, so this is correct. So this is the training of perceptron, and we can like train it for OR logic gate, NOR logic gate, or AND logic gate and NAND logic gate. But in case of XOR logic gate, we can't use this single perceptron, can't fulfill the training for XOR logic gate. The reason behind this is like here we can see in the, if we represent the graphical representation of OR logic gate, we can see here like if we try to classify it, it is linearly separable, like 0 is available below this line and all the ones are available in the above line. But in the case of XOR logic gate, if we are trying to plot here, it is 0 0, the output will be 0 here. If we are taking at 0 1, so this is 1 here, and 1 0, it is 1 here, and here at the 1 1 it is again 0. So we can't like separate it with a single line, so this is not linearly separable. We need to go ahead with this classification with this approach, where like two lines will be needed to separate this into in the classification to classify it. Either this way we can go ahead, or another way is this one. So let's move ahead with the multi-layer perceptron, how we can accomplish for the training of XOR logic gate. So in this case, first we will get the weighted sum of the hidden layer. Here we will get the weighted sum, that is the weights that we have applied here and the input that we are going to use, and this weighted sum will give me the output first for the hidden layer. Then it will pass through the activation function of this hidden layer, which will be like sigmoid in this case we will take, and this is the output of the hidden layer. Further, this will act as an input for the output layer. So this is the first weighted sum of the output layer, and then after passing through the threshold function, this will give me the output, final output. So further, again here how the weights will be initialized initially. So for that we need to provide a random weights, and its range will be again same, minus 1 upon root n to 1 upon root n, and n will be the size of the previous layer. Here n is equal to 3, so the weight range will be minus 0.577 to 0.577. So initially I have taken this random weights for v01 as 0.1, v02 as 0.5, v11 as minus 0.3, v21 as 0.4, v12 as 0.2, and v22 as 0.3. So here weighted sum will be taken. So for first we will need to figure out the weighted sum of the input. So for that here is the weight matrix here, and this is the input. Here first will be like 100. So for that we figure out like the, after calculation it gives me the output as 0.1 and 0.5. So the value of a1 and a2 is 0.1 and 0.5. So further it will pass through the threshold function of this neurons available here, and it will give me the output as after passing through the sigmoid, it gave me the output as 0.525 and 0.622, which will be the output of a1 and a2. Next we will move ahead with the hidden layer. So in this case again we have n is equal to 3, and the weight range will be minus 0.577 to 0.577. In between I have taken the random weights as 0.1, 0.5 and 0.3 for weight 0, 1, 1, 1 and 2, 1. So here the weighted sum for the output layer will be this, where this is the output that we received here. A1 and A2 is 0.525, 0.622, and this is the bias 1, and here we have the weights, that is 0.1, 0.5 and 0.3, its transpose, and then after this it will be giving me the output as 0.55. Further, this will pass through activation function, and it will give me the output as 0.634. So here the final output is 0.634. So let's move ahead with the training for XOR logic gate using multi-layer perceptron. So here we have initialized weights that we have calculated previously, 0 0.5, 0 0.4, 0 0.3, here zero point 0.1, minus 0.3, 0.2, and here we have 0 0.1, 0.5, and 0.7. So let's move ahead, and bias multiplied by first weight give me the output as 0.1. First input 0, so it will give me the output as 0. Second input again 0 will give me the output as 0. So overall summation was here 0.1, and passing through the sigmoid function, it will give me the output as 0.525. So next, for the second neuron, we'll move ahead with that, and the bias gives me the output as 0.5. First input 0, second input again 0. So overall summation come out to be 0.5, and then again it passed through the threshold function, sigmoid function here, and it will give me the output as 0.622. So now we will train for the hidden layer, that is output layer. So for that, first bias, it gives me the output as 0.1. First input, that is 0.26. Second input 0.622 multiplied by zero point 0.3 give me the output as 0.19, and this summation come out to be 0.55. Passing through the sigmoid function, it gives me the output as 0.634. Further, now we will need to classify it, like whether we need, like, the for the training we need the output as 0 or 1. So in this case we are considering, like, if the output is less than or equal to 0.5, then we will consider the output as 0, and if it is greater than 0.5, then we will consider the output as 1. So in this case it is greater than zero point 0.5, so the output will be 1, and so it needs some weight modification because we need the output as 0 here. So for that, if we are using the error calculation of the perceptron as we have done for the OR logic gate, here we have, like, new weight, old weight, learning factor, error calculation, and then the input. If we are using the same concept for the multi-layer perceptron, then in that case, suppose we have a two output in a multi-layer perceptron, and here the target is 1, that is we need the output as 1, but we actually received y1 is equal to 1.5 and y2 is equal to minus 0.5. In that case, for the error for the first output will be target minus actual output, and it will coming at minus 0.5. For second error, it will be, after calculation, give me the output as 0.5. So overall in this case, the algorithm will think like there is no error in the output, so that's why we can't use this perceptron error calculation. Instead, we'll need to move ahead with this formula where we have summation of square of the errors. So in that case, we will need to move ahead with the now for the weight modification of the multi-layer perceptron, we will need to move ahead with the backpropagation algorithm. And in this, we have first we'll need to go ahead with the partial derivatives for each weight, and this is known as the gradient, and the weight modification to minimize the error is called gradient descent. So here, for the error gradient for the hidden layer, like we got the output, now we need to move ahead from the backward direction so that we can modify the weight. So for that, error gradient will be calculated by this formula, and after the error gradient calculation, we can modify the weight with this rule, where this is the new weight, this is the old weight, this is the learning factor, which I'll use 1 for the simple calculation, and this is the error gradient with respect to weights. So after we get new weight for this output layer, then we will move ahead with the again uh, uh, backward pass, in which we will now need to modify this weight of this hidden layer. So for that, we will again take the error gradient of the input layer, in which we will use this formula, and for the weight modification, this rule is needed similar to this one. This is the new weight, old weight, and minus that is learning rate, and the error gradient with respect to weights. Now, while error calculation, we need to minimize the error as much as possible. So in that case, we can have a global optimum value here. As we are seeing in this graph, the global optimum value is here for the where this is the weight at 5. So at 5 we are seeing like the error will be minimized in this graph. And here like this point is known as a local minimum, and this is the global minimum. So we need to go ahead with the process where we can get the global optimum solution. So here if you are like looking into this gradient of error with respect to weight, suppose the weight was here in this case minus zero point 0.5. In that case it will give me the output as minus zero point 0.8. So what this means here is like the magnitude determines uh, 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 the slope of this tangent at that particular point, and the sign determines the direction of that tangent. Similarly, at the point of weight 7, it gives me the output as plus 2.15, which means like here the steepness of the curve is more, and that direction is positive, that is it is moving in the opposite direction than this one. So this can help us to determine the to minimize the error in this case. So we can look into the partial derivative of the errors to minimize the weight, and we can reach the global optimum value. So the next thing is learning rate. How we can determine the learning rate, that is eta, that is it is also having a range from 0.0001 to 1. But if the learning rate is too small, then to reach the global optimum it will take a long time. So suppose like if the learning rate is too small, then each step it will like change the error very like slowly. But if we are taking the learning rate as too large, then we might miss the global optimum. Suppose we reached here with some learning rate, suppose at around 0 0.5, and if we are like taking the learning rate as 0 0.5, then in the next iteration we might move from here to here, and we might like skip this global optimum solution. So that's why it's better to choose small learning rate and get the global optimum solution with a large number of state, instead of going with the too large amount of learning rate and missing the global optimum point. So after this we'll move ahead with the backward pass, in which like we'll need to move ahead with the weight modification for all the layers that we have for the XOR training. So here with this formula, first we will get the gradient descent here with respect to weight. So here for the first weight, that is 0 0.1, we will modify it accordingly. So here the output that we received in the initial stage was 0.634, and after this, and we need the target as 0, and we received as 1 there. So here with this calculation we can see like this is my like uh, current output 0.634 minus target is 0 here, then again this multiplied by 0.634, 1 minus 0.634, and a0 is the this value by us here. So a0 is 1, a1 that we have received as 0.525. Accordingly we'll need to move ahead with this calculation. So now after going ahead with this calculation, it gave me the output as 0.1147, and it will pass again in the backward direction. And now we need to modify the weight. This weight needs to be modified with this formula. So here we have 0.1 was the previous weight, and minus this is eta is 1 here, and del E upon del W01 we have figured it out 0.147. So weight modification will be done here accordingly. So it gave me the first weight as 0 minus 0.047. Similarly we will modify the second weight here with this del E upon uh, uh, del Wjk, that is in this case del W11. In this case, after using this formula, we will get this output as 0.077 after this calculation, and it will move ahead in the backward direction to modify the weight. So here again the same this weight modification rule will be used here, and the weight came out to be 0.423. Now the third step, here again weight modification will be done. So first we got the gradient, and then it will pass through the weight, and after weight modification it gave me the output as 0.209. So here in the error gradient, now we need to move ahead with this first hidden layer, like we have modified the weights. Now we need to modify these weights for the input layer. So for that error gradient for the input layer will be calculated by this formula, where we have a delta, and delta can be calculated with this formula. But in this case we can see like both the inputs here xi is 0, so overall like del E upon del Vij will be 0 for both the case. So in this case no here, as we have xi is 0 0, so there will be no weight modification in the input layer because this error gradient came out to be 0, so input layers weight are same as it was before. So now let's move ahead with the next step, next iteration, to see after what the changes it gives me the output after making the changes in the weights of the output layer. So first layer will be same as we have initial because all the weights are same here. So after this one, after passing through the sigmoid, it will give me the output as 0.525 as we have previously. And the next step, first input 0, second input 0 again, overall summation 0.5, passing through the sigmoid, it gave me the output as 0.622. Now for the second layer it will vary here. So now the new weight is minus 0.047, so first output minus 0.47, first output it gave me the output as 0.222, and second output it gave me the output as 0.13. Overall summation came out to be 0.305. After passing through the threshold function it gave me the output as 0.424. So here we see that 0.424 is less than 0.5, and here we get the output as 0, which is correct. So this is how like we have modified the weights and we got the correct output. But in this case we see that 0.424, which is very like near to 0.5, and we can decrease this error more with this back propagation algorithm to like reach a certain point where it will be like, suppose something like 0.001 or something like that. So accordingly we'll need to reach at the global optimum solution. So accordingly we'll need to move ahead with the multiple iterations, sometimes like 500 or 1000 iterations, then only we will reach that global optimum solution. So this is just the one iteration, two iterations I have shown for the training of XOR logic gate. Accordingly we will move ahead, then we can get the full solution. So the conclusion here is like BIAS decides if neuron should fire when all the inputs to neuron are set to 0. It also shifts the activation function curve on the x-axis, as we have seen in the sigmoid function case. Standard weights initialization range is in between -1 upon root n to 1 upon root n, where n is the size of the previous layer. Learning rate range I have found as 0.0001 to 1, and it is better to choose a small learning rate and get a global optimum solution even if training time is a bit high, as if like learning rate is small, then training time will be a bit more, because we are going ahead with the small steps in each and every iteration. And threshold function can't be used for multi-layer perceptron, because for the back propagation algorithm we need a derivative of that particular function, which is available for sigmoid function, hyperbolic tangent function, but for the threshold function we don't have a derivative at x is equal to 0, so we can't use this threshold function in multi-layer perceptron. And these are my references. So that's all for now. Jazakallah khair.